There's no pocket watch market in the U.S. at this time. I don't know if I'm doing it single-handedly, but inside of my universe, I am showing off and introducing to the world, and my world, not the fashion and the fun of carrying a vintage pocket watch.
Welcome back to Collectability. Today we're back in Hollywood, or more precisely, West Hollywood, California, to visit one of the legends of vintage watch culture, Ken Jacobs, founder of Wanna Buy a Watch. If you enjoy conversations about Patek Philippe and all things vintage watch collecting that go beyond the surface, please hit subscribe. And after this episode, please drop a comment below about your favorite Ken Jacobs moment and his unlikely journey from psychology to horology. The evolution of the vintage watch scene here in LA and internationally, and how he's kept his passion alive for watches for over 40 years. Ken Jacobs is the founder and owner of Wanna Buy a Watch, one of LA's and the world's most beloved vintage watch destinations. It's located in West Hollywood, and it's been there since the early 1980s. Ken was originally trained as a clinical psychologist, more on that later. And he made the surprising shift from therapy sessions to treasure hunting. Drawn first to coins and later to vintage timepieces, he fell in love with the beauty of watch collecting and the storytelling power of each timepiece. Over more than 40 years, Ken has watched collecting evolve from an insider's hobby to a global phenomenon. He's handled everything from Hamiltons to subs to Patek's, but what continues to drive him at the end of the day is the human connection to every timepiece. His philosophy is rooted in style, aesthetics, and the emotional resonance of each watch. And it's not just about the reference numbers. When he's not behind the counter, Ken can be found appreciating design, music, and frankly, the patina of everyday life. Ken, welcome to the Collectability Podcast.
Honored to be here, John. Honored to be here. It's a pleasure.
You know, yesterday I had the amazing opportunity to see your new store. And I have to say, when you walk in, it's just a step back in time. And for vintage watch lovers or for anyone that likes design, technical history, and of course, watch collecting, you are a must-see stop. I mean, you've done a great job designing that place.
Thank you. Thank you. I was very eager for you to come in and see where we live and where we operate, because that's Wanna Buy a Watch is my home. And my home is not all that different in design than the store, but we have created a what I hoped you would find a visually interesting and warm and actually embracing environment, and that's what we find most people experience. So I'm delighted since we're here in the studio and not in my shop having this interview. I'm very delighted that you have the benefit of seeing where we do. Where the magic happens. Where the magic happens.
And I think you described it so well. You asked me one of the first things when I walked through the store, have you watched Cheers? And of course I've watched Cheers. And that's the feeling where you walk in and everyone knows your name. It's like, hey, Norm. That's the kind of feeling that your shop has.
It's going to break out into song and sing the theme song.
And you have your own Diane too, which is great.
We do. It wouldn't be the Cheers bar without Kim with a Y.
Kim with a Y. And I'm familiar with Kim with a Y because I listened to your recent podcast with our friend at Standard H with Wesley. And he told some amazing stories. So I encourage all of our listeners, if you want to learn more about Ken, and you're going to want to after this conversation, go over to Standard H Podcast and have a listen.
That interview was very fun because it was done in the lounge at Wanna Buy a Watch after hours, but with Kim standing by.
Oh, so, cracking up, no less.
Yeah, so my references to her was while she was in the room, and she's not in the room today.
Well, she might be. I don't know. That's great. Well, I have so many questions, and I'm going to riff from my prefab questions here a bit. I hope that's okay. But origination story.
I only have answers to the questions that you.
Oh, then I'm going to throw some curveballs. So let's go back to the beginning. How did you pivot from coins to watches?
Well, it's interesting because people think, oh, what an unusual shift from psychology to watches. And it really wasn't a shift from psychology to watches because I've been a lifelong collector.
Yes.
So I like to say that I have the collecting gene, and I think a lot of us have that collecting gene, the gene or spirit. So as a kid at summer camp in Buzzards Bay, Cape Cod, I was collecting seashells, and I got inspired by Uncle Pop, who took us out to Craigsville Beach and gathering up the blue lip quahogs off the beach and learning the razor clams and all the names of the seashells and doing a project for school where you put the wires. The wires are in the back of the board, and there's the name in one column and the shell in the other. And when you get the wire right, the light goes off, and bingo. But then stamps. My father was a bit of a stamp collector, and but then I segued into coins, and I became quite an avid coin collector, and what I thought was being a coin investor. That was only partially
Even
true.
as a kid, the word invest was in your mindset?
Yeah, because these are things of value,
Yes.
And they're old and they're rare. And I'm studying Coin World, getting the weekly Coin World thing, and going through the ads and the hours spent doing that. And with my Blue Whitman penny folder, I remember one evening sitting on the floor in our den as a kid, and I didn't have any new pennies that I didn't already have. I was pushing them out of the folder to put them back in.
I forgot about those. So I remember, for those that aren't familiar with that, and I would imagine a lot of people of a younger age have never seen the coin collecting, those cardboard, like you push in the coins. Like I remember, you'd have like the dime one, the penny one, the quarter one.
All of them, right. And now it's all clad coins. It's in sort of in a parallel to the watch business, the growth of the watch business, and now the high value and the investment. The coin collecting, now everything, if you're a coin collector, you're buying clad coins. Everything is, whatever it is, PCNG graded, and you can't touch the coin anymore. They're sealed in a slab. And
it's less tactile.
It's become a commodity. And that doesn't seem as much fun to me.
Now, early on in collecting.
I don't think I answered your question.
No, I told you it was going to be a meandering conversation because we haven't even gotten to psychology yet. I think we just have to jump right into that.
We barely have talked about watches yet.
We're going to get to watches eventually. So I'm just thinking, as a kid, you had the collecting gene. Like I collected baseball cards and some coins where it began for me. And it's a lot of collectors or even people in the business that we speak to, they started with something early on. Like now, I hear Legos. Like Lego collectors for the younger generation have become watch collectors. I find that very interesting psychologically.
Well, Pokemon cards are very hot again.
Yes. And look at the prices that they're bringing.
Yeah.
So let's, I can't leave the psychology questions for later. I have to start asking now.
Okay.
So you're from Massachusetts originally, from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Worcester, sure.
Yeah. And then you found your way to the West Coast. And is that where your education as a psychologist began?
No.
Okay.
I came to California to do my internship in clinical psychology at Camarillo State Hospital.
Okay.
And literally on the airplane flying out here, I'm trying to create a design for a pad of, like a checkbook, of fresh, unused dollars.
Okay.
That would be various denominations, $1, $5, $10, $20, and you would have a pad, and it would be this cool marketing thing that you just kind of tear off a bill rather than in your pocket. But it was not practical because it's not practical. But at any rate, I remember on the plane to California, I am already got things going on in the entrepreneurship, in the collectability, in the whatever.
Exactly.
All right, that didn't pan out, but early on discovered the Rose Bowl flea market held at the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena the second Sunday of every month, and I
Still to this day.
To this day.
I gotta check that out.
It is. Oh, it was this past Sunday. What's today's day? What's today? Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. It was last Wednesday. You used to be able to just get in line and buy tickets. Now you have to do it online, and you have to prepay, and it's all da-da-da-da. But any rate, if you want to talk about the segue into the watch world,
let's do it.
All right,
we'll come back to psychology though after.
So the coin thing evolved into dealing in cutout coin jewelry, which was a popular fad, I think, in the late 80s and early 90s. And Mercury dimes, standing Liberty quarters, and so forth, cutting out the background and wearing them as earrings, as necklaces. And so I was peddling those at the flea market, at the psych hospital that I was at, not to the patients, and consigning to some shops in Camarillo and Ventura. At the Rose Bowl, a year later, so I'm already peddling I'm not peddling, I'm selling modest collector coins and jewelry and things that I've found oftentimes on trash day going through. Honestly, yes, because people throw out a lot of good stuff.
They still do today. So.
Eyeglass frames, there's old postcards, photographs, and stuff like that. There was a UCLA student set up on a bridge table selling pocket watches.
Okay.
And railroad pocket watches were always amongst the coin dealers' inventory, but I never paid any attention to them. They were over there. He is selling not railroad watches, but hunting case pocket watches with beautiful designs. And I was just absolutely fascinated. The same attention to detail as coins. Each watch is unique in its design. Looking at condition that the hunting case where you press the button and the lid opens up, and here you've got this beautiful dial inside. Open up the case back and the cuvette, and there's this big movement that you can see. And I just saw, and they were not a lot of money. He was selling them for $125.
So this is a kid from UCLA that was set up selling pocket watches.
Yeah.
That's great. Is he still in the business?
No.
Okay.
That he was buying, as he later turned me on to and made the connect to, Lance Thomas. And you may be
it's way a name I've heard, but
way
before
too
my
young,
time.
AKA the shooter.
Okay. You got to share that story. Why is he called the shooter?
Because he had a number of armed robberies at his shop in West LA.
Okay.
And some of the bad guys didn't fare so well because he was a good shot.
This is the Wild West. Oh, my goodness. Now, are we talking 70s or 80s here?
We're talking 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, and at any rate, I've listened to myself tell this story before quite recently, but it's just I don't know. I don't have the words to describe my reaction. It's just like and the light bulb going off is not colorful enough description of my visceral reaction to. I don't want to overuse the word magic. The magic of these things. These things are so interesting and they are so cool, and it's so much more interesting than coins. And I was hooked, and I started buying from I forget his name now, and started buying the watches from him and selling at the Rose Bowl myself at a better geographic location than he was at, and selling at some small antique shops.
Pocket watches at first?
Pocket watches. Okay. Pocket watches.
At this time, were pocket watches very collectible? This is before like the wristwatch insanity.
This is before this is before wristwatches.
So this pocket watches was at the core in the early 80s, I understood. But at the beginning still.
pocket watches didn't exist. It wasn't I'm not joining the bandwagon of something. I mean, it was a novelty that he was out there selling pocket watches. People sell vintage
It's a quirky
stuff,
thing.
vintage stuff at the Rose Bowl, and it's kind of a novelty sort of thing. But kind of like the way I do things is I take something and I do specialize, I focus on it, and I promote it, and I market it, and I provide great visuals. I brought some props. I don't know if you want.
Excellent. No, bring out the props. What do you have?
This is not the pocket watch story, but when we started doing, where's my camera over here?
Show it there.
This is the postcards that we started producing.
Oh, that's
in
brilliant.
the early 90s, when a couple of different companies were providing postcard racks by the bathrooms of restaurants, by the bathrooms, and this is really a throwback, payphones.
I've heard of those.
So there was a postcard rack, and it was designed to take, and they're designed as postcards.
That is great.
So we started doing a program and doing beautiful photography and doing our postcard racks. And we did it for the watches, and when we later got into antique engagement rings, and women would come in, and I've had your postcard on my refrigerator for 3 years, and finally I have a boyfriend, or finally my husband is coming in to look at your engagement rings.
Do you still make postcards?
We don't make postcards anymore because we're now in a digital world, not in a print world. And the days of yellow page ads.
Oh yes, and tiny classified ads.
And talking to the ad rep and how many yellow pages should we be in, and how far out Santa Barbara, Orange County. It's like you can spend a fortune on yellow page print ads. At any rate, we've always been very visual. I've lost track of the pocket watches. Anyway, the pocket watch. It came down to me carrying a pocket. So there's no pocket watch market in the U.S. at this time. I don't know if I'm doing it single-handedly, but inside of my universe, I am showing off and introducing to the world, and my world, not the fashion and the fun of carrying a vintage pocket watch.
I could relate more than you know. Because this continues to this day. It's just such a missed opportunity. And the magic, for lack of a better term, is that when the feeling and holding a pocket watch and using a pocket watch, winding it, is a different experience than putting a wristwatch on. And very few people have discovered that.
You asked me in the shop, you saw our small selection of pocket watches. How do we sell a lot of pocket watches? And I said, yeah, one every few months.
Yes.
Right. And another interesting thing about pocket watches is the pocket watch is invisible. What is visible is the chain. Mm-hmm. So the chain is really important because that's what is being shown to the world, and that chain is the entree to the watch. So to sell pocket watches, at least in my world, to sell pocket watches, you need nice chains.
Yes.
Because that's the tell.
Do you keep a stock of fobs or chains in the store?
As best I can.
Okay.
Best I can, but that's a challenge to find nice chains, and you can't buy gold chains anymore.
Okay. So the price of gold is a chain is an investment.
And even the pocket watches. A gold hunting case pocket watch, a man's gold hunting case 16 size pocket watch. The amount of gold in there.
And this is a question that with gold prices tipped $4,000 an ounce, we're seeing again a lot of pocket watches being scrapped for their cases. And in the last 4 decades, you must have seen that time and time again. Great watches that are destroyed. Have you seen that cycle before?
It's a heartbreak.
Yes,
it's a heartbreak. This is maybe overly romantic or naive or something. I showed you some of the amphora collectible pottery that we have in the shop, and I have a bunch at home. And if any of those pieces were to break, I feel this personal responsibility for time immemorial. Like I am the keeper of these antiquities, not because they're so valuable, but just because once they're broken or once they're chipped or if they get knocked on the floor, they're gone forever. And with beautiful gold pocket watches, it's like it's the last thing I ever want to do to something that has some beauty is to scrap it. It's a real heartbreak.
It's sacrilegious. So how did you make the giant transition from pocket watches in Pasadena to want to buy a watch on Melrose?
I got a call from a fellow that I had met at the flea markets who had an opportunity to open up a space smaller than the room that we are in. He did neon clock restoration. He's the guy who went to the landlord or to the business owner to take down the antiquated, non-running neon clock on the outside of the building, these advertising clocks.
Okay.
And he would take them down and restore them. So he was in the vintage neon restoration business and selling these great clocks that were so very, very popular in the 80s. And if anybody's seen any pictures of Melrose Avenue in the 1980s, it is neon galore. It is just so, no pun intended, electric.
Yes.
So neon was just so hot. So he wanted to know if I wanted to share the space with him. I would man the shop. I would do the watches in the shop in the afternoon after coming back from working at the psych hospital that I was now working at. And he would do the neon clocks. So that was my entree onto Melrose. And when he called me, and I was beyond excited because Melrose was this just burgeoning scene of hipness and vintage and American pop culture from the 40s and the 50s, and Japanese tour buses arriving daily, multiple times daily, buying bowling shirts and Hawaiian shirts, and then later on even tennis shoes.
This is mid to late 80s?
This is the 80s into the early 90s. And
that must have been a magic time.
So I mean, the scene wasn't fully mature at this point, but it was enough that I knew that this was it. This is where,
sign me up, right? You're ready.
This is where I want to be. This is where I belong. And thus was born Wanna Buy a Watch.
And then you said goodbye to the psych hospital?
Yes.
Or you were living two lives.
Yes, I got out. I worked there for 5 years. I got my PhD. I got licensed in California. And then my business was growing, and I segued. It wasn't a blind leap. It wasn't. It was a very gradual. And a little personal story is I was in therapy at the time. We'll talk about
We'll get into that in a moment.
that later. And I was here I've worked all these years to be a psychologist, and I enjoyed being a psychologist, although other people who knew me said no. But my therapist, in terms of letting go, taking your hand out of the cookie, it wasn't a cookie jar in the sense that it was lucrative. That wasn't that, but just of switching careers and letting go of something that you've worked at for so many years and struggled and to shift gears into being from being a professional to being a business person, which to me did not have the same esteem and social stature as being a professional.
Exactly.
So it was.
So you moved from Dr. Jacobs to how much is this? What's the best you can do? Yeah.
So, and thank you for that lead in, because Ed Dreyfus said to me, you can keep the Ken Jacobs PhD on your card. You don't have to. You're not throwing away. You're not turning in your degree.
It's part of your identity. Yeah.
And very much so, the identity. So to this day, we have Ken Jacobs, PhD. And I assure you, I never mind when I hand a customer the card in the very respectful Japanese cultural way.
Yeah.
And God forbid they put it in their pocket and don't look at it, and I have to stop them.
To correct them. None of this. None of this.
You know. And then they say, "What is your PhD in?"
You should make them guess.
So anyway, that was super liberating. That it was not.
That's part of you.
It wasn't throwing it away. So that. I think it's an interesting thing, even as I say it now today, of reflecting on, of allowing me to shift and transition into something that I really loved. And in terms of the anxiety of, look, your track record is one of growth and success. So what would be the most likely prediction going forward? Failure? No. The most likely prediction is continued success. And now 42 years later, and it's interesting in terms of, as we jump around in this conversation, watches have never been more interesting, and the demand for wristwatches has never been greater for Wanna Buy a Watch than it is today. So success, there has been success, and there continues to be success.
And that success has to be dictated by you being able to bend with trends. Like, I'm thinking, you mentioned Japanese tourists. They weren't buying pocket watches from you. I'm guessing they're buying bubble backs in maybe even top hats from the Patek Philippe world in the 1980s.
Sure.
So how did you make that shift? And what did you have in the store in the 1980s? What was paying the bills and keeping the lights on?
When I started with wristwatches, and let's reference Lance Thomas again, the shooter. I bought my first 4 wristwatches from Lance, $35 each. I bought 4 watches, probably Gruen's, Hamilton, maybe a Bulova, $35 each. I spent $140. You would go into his shop, dark shop, and the watches were in there, not fixed up, not running, no straps on them. His business model was you select the watch, and then he would have it serviced. You would select a strap, and that was his model. But he was also a wholesaler. So I bought my first 4 wristwatches from Lance.
And I bet you were never late on a payment. Ever.
So in the 80s, it wasn't about value and investment and prestige. It was about the fashion of vintage fashion, in the same way of bowling shirts and Hawaiian shirts, and vintage memorabilia and old neon and old Coke machines and vintage advertising and the whole vintage vibe and the whole vintage aesthetic. So that's what it was about. And for all of our customers, and in those days, everybody came to Melrose. I mean, I have a list that I brought with me of, I don't have to read them all. Everybody, television actors and musicians and screenwriters and everybody.
I need to see the list. Take out the list and share some of the names of who you saw during this time, because that's exciting.
Well, it's amazing.
Because you just described to me Camelot of Melrose in the 1980s.
That is right.
And you described a very, talking to some of our Italian friends, the aesthetic of design and collecting hand in hand, where it wasn't just about money. It was about beauty, a little bit of treasure hunting.
Okay, so in the 1980s, there is no eBay. Mm-hmm. There's no websites. There's no Instagram. There's a few shops on Melrose in LA and a few shops in Manhattan. There's Time Will Tell, Stuart Unger.
Of course.
There's Aaron Faber Galleries.
Yeah.
A few years later, there's Chusak Gallery with Jack Zagori, who was Lee's uncle.
Of course. I know. Lee is horological royalty. I always told her that. So.
for sure. So it was the fashion of vintage watches, and it was about cool design and a vintage vibe. So everybody who was hip and fashionable wanted a vintage watch or multiple vintage watches, and not because they were investment, because it was cool and it was hip and it was fun.
I love it.
And this is in an era that contemporary watches are about minimalism, integral bracelets, really the thinness, what Concord Delirium, or is that?
Yeah, these ultra thin
the thinness
mesh bracelets.
So thin that they bend and stop working. Yeah. So it was about a gentleman's watch that was simple and sophisticated, and the Patek's that I had nothing to do with, I wanted nothing to do with, that are now very popular because that more formal and that more dress-up style is much more in fashion today. And what I was doing was absolutely a throwback and a reaction against that. Oh.
So that's interesting. So Patek Philippe during that time period was considered so traditional in your opinion and many others, that it was just maybe the old man's watch. Would that be the perception?
The old man's watch,
or it's just considered too traditional and crusty in terms of design.
Not necessarily old man.
Too establishment. Maybe.
It was totally establishment.
Okay, like upper crust establishment. Okay.
Yeah, and I was anything but upper crust. Beverly Hills, no. Melrose.
Understood. Now, I think that's an important distinction for people that don't know LA. But even like in New York, it wasn't Park Avenue might have been for Patek Philippe, but East Village would be more like Melrose. Is that fair?
Oh,
okay.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Excellent. And I think cities around the world, everyone has those two different neighborhoods.
Right.
So you were selling to the East Village. You were selling to the Melrose crowd.
Very much so.
And a Calatrava 3919 wasn't at the top of the list.
No.
That's a banker's watch.
Right. But,
okay.
Right.
That's fascinating distinction.
So on the one Saturday morning in particular. So now I've evolved from that shop, and I was sharing a lease with another antique guy next door, and at the back of the shop I had a U-shaped showcase in the back of a shop called Slightly Crazed, referring to the crazing of pottery.
So you'd have to walk through Slightly Crazed to get to Wanna Buy a Watch.
In a manner of speaking.
To see Dr. Jacobs.
To see Dr. Jacobs.
This sounds like a Alice in Wonderland storyline.
I love your characterization as Camelot, because that's what it was.
That's right. A lot of great memories from that period.
Wow.
So who visited?
So one Saturday, so as I said, there's no social media and so forth. So the way that you would see what a seller of wristwatches, vintage wristwatches, had was to go into the shop. So on a Saturday morning, there is just an influx, a throng of people coming in to see what's new and eagerly looking in the showcase, and oftentimes 2 rows deep. The people in the second row, kind of like at the first half hour of our watch shows.
Yeah, it sounds like the beginning of a watch show.
Looking in. So one early Saturday morning, in come 3 members of the Brat Pack: Demi Moore, Emilio Estevez, and Judd Nelson.
Oh my goodness!
Come in together.
Yes.
To look at shops.
And you knew who they were immediately, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
I mean, I'm not a big Hollywood guy, and I'm still a guy from Worcester, Massachusetts, and still starstruck. But here's three brat packers who are coming in together. They're all buddies. They're all friends. They're all hot in the movie industry. Molly Ringwald, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, bought a lady's platinum and diamond Audemars Piguet. I'm demonstrating that it was on a bracelet. Beautiful, stunning watch. I think it was $3,250 or $3,500. And she came in and bought this gorgeous watch. And I was just so like, oh my God, it was a beautiful, beautiful watch. And it was $3,500 and she just bought it.
It must have been shocking for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Was it much of a conversation, or she was like, "I'll take it"?
I don't recall. I wish I could say I could recall, and this was what happened between the two of us. She did email me maybe 4 or 5 years ago. First contact since 38 years ago.
She still has your postcard.
and there was, okay, and it came from Molly Ringwald, and it was like there was no introduction or any reference to the past. It was just straight to the point. It was a straightforward question. But at any rate, I was still glad to hear from Molly Ringwald years later. Nicolas Cage.
Loves watches.
So we had, this is early Nicolas Cage. So we had a feature done on us that appeared in an obsolete airline magazine, a magazine of an obsolete airline, Eastern Airlines magazine. And it was in black and white. And there was, in those days, we're starting to see articles about the phenomenon of vintage watches. So we got interviewed, and we had the photographer came in, and there's a picture of the interior of the shop with a customer bent over the counter looking at watches, paying no attention to the camera. It's fucking Nicolas Cage. who is not playing, oh no, I don't want any pictures. And
he's just looking at watches.
He's just there looking at watches.
And you knew who it was.
I don't think I knew who it was until years later when I looked back at that picture, and it's like, holy shit, that's Nicolas Cage who was in that picture.
That makes it better.
It's like ridiculous.
That's made for TV.
Nobody's paying any attention. Within the next few years, we've got the Saturday Night Live cast coming in. So Dan Aykroyd buying a vintage 9-carat rectangular Rolex. John Lovett. Kramer.
From Seinfeld?
From Seinfeld.
Did he make a big entrance, like through the door?
Well, it was so funny because when I mentioned about the second row, this one Saturday, we were just jammed with people, and I probably had 3 salespeople, and I'm sort of in the back. I'm not always at the front counter. These days, I'm much more in the front, which is really a wonderful experience because I am so hands-on with what people are looking for and what people want, and it is so much more. I'm so much more informed, and I'm such a better buyer and a shopper because I know what's happening, not from being up on the upper deck trying to keep this ship from running aground.
I know.
So I have it so clear in my mind. Kramer, tall, in the second row, craning his neck to see, and I'm just there watching
with his crazy hair,
watching this. Rick Ocasek and Paulina Porzkova, maybe messing that up. Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman.
So Pee Wee Herman went to you to want to buy a watch, and
there were years that we had Pee Wee Herman Pee Wee Herman dolls for sale. And then Pee Wee Herman watches, and I was certainly a big fan of Pee Wee. And on and on.
There's the soundbite that we've been looking for.
Alice Cooper.
Oh, wow.
Graham and Susan Nash. My stories are going to be more about the people and the experience, or my experience of these people, rather than this important watch or that important watch. So it's I'm anticipating, well, what kind of watches did they buy? And it's like, I don't remember.
No, but you remember the people.
I remember the people.
And recently we both came back from New York for Rolly Fest. And Fred Savage from the Wonder Years, also a prior guest on the Collectability
Indeed.
podcast. He was asked by Jeff Hess, our host at Rolly Fest, of how did you get into watches, Fred? And he singled you out as the gateway drug. What was his exact words? You were the
on-ramp?
entrance.
Did he say
the
on-ramp?
on-ramp? Yes.
I loved that expression.
Yes.
The on-ramp. And it's like, okay, note to self, want to buy a watch is the on-ramp. I like that.
That's interesting.
Because we are not everything to all people. But we are, thank God, still relevant 40 years later.
Yes.
And we are not cutting edge with the YouTube videos and all of what people are doing. And I appreciate what they're doing because they don't have a store. I have a store. Like guys for years have said, God, how can you stand retail? It's like, well,
by the way, throw a camera on you all day and you'll be a YouTube star in 2 minutes. Because with the list you just shared with me, the stories you can tell, your charisma combined with knowledge, yeah, you could be the biggest thing on YouTube. But you want to keep it about the watches and the clients. I see.
So we had this is a Graham Nash story. I'll try to tell it kind of succinctly because it's got nothing to do with watches, but it has everything to do with want to buy a watch, and what I so appreciated what Fred said, calling me out, not calling me out, whatever,
complimenting you.
That I think we have a retail store that is in a fashionable retail area. We've had 5 locations, I think, over these 40 years. Every location has been on Melrose. We've never been in an office. We've never been in an exchange. It's always Melrose. Now we're west of where we are, which is much better neighborhood than what has become of the old neighborhood. In terms of us being the on-ramp, we are accessible. Now, even though we're only open 3 days a week since COVID, you can walk in the store in any of those 3 days and come in and see a smorgasbord of watches, of many watches, and you can try them on, and you're welcomed, and there's no pressure, and it's such an opportunity that apparently, as an observer of my business, or observer of other people who observe my business, I would say you don't have to make an appointment. We do. You can come in and try them on, see what you like, and you can see a big selection. And that's absolutely an important part of us being relevant and still being in business 40 years later, on top of all the branding and all the visuals and everything else that we do. But having a retail store that's accessible and people can come in and be treated and feel welcome, and it's not an intimidating environment. And this is not a plug for Want to Buy a Watch, but it's sort of describing the landscape of what a retail store
could and should be.
That is friendly and welcoming, and not it's not. I won't mention any of the brand names, the stores where there's a rope and.
But this authenticity it's truly a beautiful thing, because you're not going to walk into your store and hear about wait lists. Or even worse, you're not going to be like, oh, let's package a diamond with the purchase of this watch. Like all the things that we're seeing developing in the retail world is not part of your world. This is about, hey, come. There's you have a big comfy couches. People can sit down and talk about watches. You have every watch book imaginable in the library.
I have your books.
Appreciate that very much. So it's just, I think that's the magical Camelot that I think. and that authenticity that people really want today. And so kudos to you for doing this. And for
Thank
going
you.
On your 5th decade of doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I still enjoy it. I don't, yeah, anyway, it's still predominantly a labor of love. And the ongoing hunt for great watches, great design, great condition, pieces I haven't seen before. I have now come around and appreciating great design from the 70s and the 80s. So I'm, it's kind of, I have to kind of eat my words a little bit because I'm such a snob about good what is and what isn't good style and good design. But over the decades, I've and a mint condition Disco Volante with a textured bezel is gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've come around to appreciate Patek Philippe at the end of the day.
Yes.
This is good. That's a full circle moment. If you see a Patek Philippe pocket watch, do you look at it at least?
Absolutely.
Do you buy it?
No, because I haven't nurtured.
That's not your core.
I haven't nurtured that
Okay.
that client. But to see any vintage Cartier pocket watch, is a joy. And it's like, can I buy that? And it's like just for my own pleasure. I was telling you about that Hamilton, that white gold 18 karat Hamilton that the customer may trade in soon. That is just pristine condition, 1935, engraved on the cuvette, the initials, the hand engraved initials on the back, the chain, the knife with the same initials on it. It's flipping wonderful. And do I want to own it? Yes. Do I want to sell it? I don't know. If I sell it, I don't have it.
Do you have a personal collection
of wristwatches?
Yes.
I don't have any pocket watches. Oh,
Okay.
I do have a pocket watch in my drawer.
Okay.
At the store.
But you did a great job describing how trends have changed since the 80s. But do you think there are corners of the collecting world that are yet undiscovered?
Well, here's a broad a net to throw at that question. What I was referencing in the 80s and the early 90s, if you wanted a cool watch, it was a vintage watch. Modern watches were not interesting. They were not. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a vintage car. I mean, a vintage car is much more complicated than wearing a vintage watch. But the people on this list, and there's many names, and I'm not going to read them. And this is only some of them that would be more recognizable. Were not collectors. They were buying vintage fashion. Vintage watches were cool. They were fun. They were novel. They were, people come in the shop and it's like, Where did you get all these? Like, where do they come from? Because they're not mainstream. You can't go to the department store or anywhere else and see any of these. And here you walk into a store with hundreds of these things, all different and different brands, and white gold, and yellow gold, and gold filled, and da 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 da. And it was. You were buying fashion, and it happened to be a wristwatch, and it was cool, and it was fun, and guys predominantly would have multiple watches. They would have, so we were making watch rolls, nice watch rolls to put the watches in, and guys would be proud of their dozen watches in a roll, and maybe they had a second roll, and maybe they had a third roll, and they were not buying investments. They were.
It's part of their wardrobe.
It was absolutely wardrobe. Who jumping around? Who I didn't mention, who absolutely deserves mention. Lou Adler.
Lou Adler,
who sits at all the Lakers games next to Jack Nicklaus, and Lou Adler is wearing a cap. So he's rock impresario, I think is referred to. And he was one of the producers of the first Monterey Pop Festival.
Okay.
And the manager, I believe, of the Mamas and the Papas. And a big deal historically in the
music industry.
Music industry. He would come in every Saturday with his little kids, who are not little anymore, and pick out a Hamilton Electric.
Oh, cool.
So these were the days of Hamilton Electrics, and also, which I didn't mention in the Standard H podcast at all, that I'd forgotten, Space View Accutrons. Bulova Space View Accutrons that we could not get enough of to meet the demand because they were cool to look at with that green plastic see-through thing. And we were converting Accutrons into Space Views because that had any Accutrons that had a dial, pull that dial out and put on a new crystal so we want to see that. So it was such a treat, and Lou I did engage with personally, and was just a delightful guy, and as I've said before, of so many trains of thoughts. It's such a pleasure to have
just to connect with people.
Right.
And you probably don't think what they do is for their day job. You're just talking about watches.
Right.
And that's what's so much fun.
And the commerce is about the watches and the appreciation for the watches. So yeah. So you asked me about other niches.
Undiscovered corners of the collecting universe.
So I think there has been a huge evolution from to have a good watch meant to have a vintage watch. Through the 90s and certainly the 2010s. If you're going to buy a watch, it's going to be a vintage watch. You're not going to go to. I don't.
You could say it.
This is not absolute. You don't go to the store and buy a new watch. But if you wanted a cool watch and you were I don't know if a hipster is the right word or not, but sort of being fashion forward would be a vintage watch was cool. And we all witnessed the huge run up in value of the Rolex sport models and so forth, and the huge escalation in price. So it was about if you wanted a cool watch, you would buy a vintage watch. And that's why Wanna Buy Watch became so popular, because people came to satisfy the need or the desire, the appetite for a vintage watch. Now there is so much on the buffet table. And never mind all the so in the mid-90s, all the watch companies started introducing historical inspired models. So that's now taking away some of the specialness of the vintage, because you could have the vintage aesthetic, which was obviously very compelling, and all the watch companies are now doing reissues.
It hasn't changed, has it? The trend in the last 30 years
of
is
their
reissues.
Classics. Yes. So now you have something that's new and is not old and mechanical and more reliable, and you can go to the store and buy it. And what is a good watch? The question: what is a good watch to buy? Oh my God!
It's too much. It's a buffet.
The quality, and we're not talking about what's a good quality watch. The quality, we are so beyond quality. We are on what brand do you want on the wrist? How much money do you want to spend? What is your crowd? What is your social circle? Who do you need to impress? So I think part of the softening or the move away from vintage and the softening of pricing is that there's so much else to own that is cool, given what you can talk about with your other guests about the Longas and your specialty and the Paddocks and the Royal Oaks and the RMs and on. There is so much to choose from that is cool. And now we're seeing all these craft brands, independents coming out, and I'm not pursuing that market at all, and I'm not very knowledgeable in it. But it's like it's interesting. Sort of, I don't know. We can parallel the craft beers, but there are so many independents doing cool watches from $500 to many thousands of dollars. So while my store and our customers are predominantly coming in to buy a Rolex, but now Cartier, as Cartier has just exploded as a fashion brand, especially for women, to some extent to men. But
how many approximately Cartier crashes have gone through your hands?
One.
Okay, that's a good answer.
One.
How early? Which, like a 1990s one or one of the earlier ones?
It was it a London? I think it was London. Show my lack of depth. That I was able to help Eric Koo acquire somebody who came in my store with the Cartier crash story.
Here, we're going to do a bit of a role play.
Okay.
Because I'm very curious about how your background in psychology, which we touched upon earlier in this conversation, informs how you think today and how it's shaped your career. So, as I mentioned to you earlier, I've never actually gone to a therapist in my life.
You're overdue.
And yes, thank you. You beat me to the punchline because most people I know say, John, it's time. So let's share this experience first here on the Collectability Podcast. I'm visiting you, Dr. Jacobs, wearing your other hat, and I have an addiction problem. Oh, you might.
Well, not this hat.
Not this hat. The Collectability Oval hat, aka Libs. By the way, this is a true limited edition.
Ellipse.
Ken has some like proprietary method of bleaching the hats to give them this like really cool patinaed look. And you wear that hat all the time, every time I see you. Well, and I appreciate that.
I have other hats.
You do? It's not a coincidence.
I think we all wear multiple hats.
True, and puns intended.
And when I'm here with you, I'm certainly going to be wearing this hat.
Excellent. So for this next segment, Dr. Jacobs, it's perfect that you're wearing that hat.
I should have a different hat on.
So I guess I'm coming to visit you, humbly asking for help. I have an addiction problem collecting Patek Philippe. I completely, constantly doom scroll for Patek Philippe on the internet. I'm constantly talking about Patek Philippe. Everything in my life is focused on Patek Philippe. Can I have some help?
What is the problem?
There is no problem whatsoever.
I don't see the problem. You have a passion. You have a passion. You don't have a problem. You're in business. You're not in the debtor's house. You're not failing to pay the mortgage or take your wife out to dinner because you have no money, but for spending so much on what you're claiming is a drug, but in fact it is not, because you have a passion as. As my birding son has a passion. When I describe to customers that if they ask about my family and my son, my 35-year-old son has an international bird guiding business, and they say, "Wow, isn't that interesting? That's such an unorthodox kind of career, and it certainly is, but it is his passion, and he has followed it, and against all odds and against my prediction, he has turned it into a successful international bird guiding business. Birds by Beegis."
What's the website? Let's share it.
Birds by Beegis, Benny Isaac Jacobs Schwartz.
Got it.
Birds by Beegis.
We'll have to put a link below so people can check that out. Because you were telling me some of the locations he offers tours.
Yeah.
Like you could go to Ecuador on a birding trip.
Costa Rica. Trinidad, Tobago with the Ventura County Audubon Society. Central America, South America, Alaska.
Okay.
And he's the one who gave me the idea of a sticker, because he has a Bird by Beegis sticker, which I sadly don't have here, which says, "The birds won't watch themselves."
You got me there.
And
that is really good.
And it's like a sticker.
He is your son.
He is your
son.
So when people say, I say that when I describe his following his passion, and the customer says, well, he's turning a passion into a business. Now, where would he have gotten that kind of role modeling from? And it's like, oh yeah, I get it. So here for you.
Oh, thank you
is
so
a Wanna
much.
Buy a Watch sticker. What I like to say is available only from Wanna Buy a Watch, this sticker.
And here's the great thing I have to show. The dog, that's Nipper.
Yes, that's Nipper.
The RCA dog, when you visit Wanna Buy a Watch, you're greeted by Nipper.
Our watchdog.
Yes, watchdog.
A watchdog.
That's just fantastic.
Every watch store should have a watchdog.
I have to say the guy with the trench coat doesn't look like you, but I get it.
So I want to reassure you that your condition is not terminal, and I don't think it's a problem, because you have turned your passion into a very successful business. You have a massive inventory. You have a loyal following. You are an expert in your area. You are hosting podcasts with interesting,
the best guest on earth,
and unusual people. So I think you are doing just fine. So
I must say you are the single best therapist I've ever had.
Give me $350 and we'll see you later.
Well, I think I could walk away from this conversation and say confidently, I want to buy a watch.
Yeah.
Wow. So I think I'm your newest, your patient here. And I really appreciate that. Because I'm always curious when I'm speaking to collectors, because we are in the people business. And I have collectors, many of our listeners who come back. They'll buy one watch, two watch, three. There's some, not kidding, bought 20, 30 watches from us. And I'm sure you've had that experience too. And you get to know them as people, which is wonderful. And when we speak, it's not about watches. Usually we get there eventually. It's just about life. And that's what makes this community so rich. So maybe we don't all need therapy. Maybe we just all need more watches.
Well, the connection, I mean, and recently this has happened to me several times with a first-time customer who I've heard about your shop, or somebody referred me to you. They said, oh, go there. And we're talking about watches. We're not talking about his family and my family, his or her career and my career. We're talking about the watches. But what happens in that engagement, especially, let's say it's not exclusively with me, but it also occurs with our employees, but I'm talking about myself now, as with this engagement between the two of us here now. And I just do what I do as you do what you do, and you're genuine and you're authentic and you're real and you're not. Nobody's trying to get over on somebody. It's a collaborative relationship, educating them, informing them, guiding them. What is their style? What should be the next watch? Not that there should be. It's what pleases somebody, what suits them. And then that person who has now bought a watch is eager to buy another one. And they don't know necessarily which one it is, but they want to come back to want to buy a watch and have another experience. So again, I speak with such gratitude of I lost that. That was about to come out.
That was poetry. Such gratitude of for your clients, I guess.
The good, once again, it's the double entendre of the good time that people have at Want to Buy a Watch.
There's your new tagline. The puns are endless.
So anyway, as you do, and you develop a loyal following because of who you are and how you are and the depth of your knowledge and your integrity and your honesty, and that they can trust your advice. And that's what I do. I'm like the suit vendor who is what suits them, what fits them. When a customer puts on a watch, and I say to myself, or I say it out loud, that looks like in terms of your attire, your fashion, your style, your persona, that looks like the watch that you would have been wearing walking into the store. And that's how much it, again, the pun, suits you. It's a home run. It's like,
that's what makes what we do so much fun.
And that's
playing matchmaker in that way is so much fun.
So it's not which watch. It's like, which watch should I buy? It's like, spend a few minutes and look over the inventory. See, right now everything is overwhelming because like, oh my God, how would you decide? You've got so many to choose from. But it's like, take a few minutes, take your time. There's no rush here. Look them over. And after a few minutes, certain watches will emerge. Like, can I see that one? Can I see that one? And try it on. So it's this collaborative, this engagement, this try it on and see what you like. See what suits you, what you like, and that person then is going to say good things about us, and they're going to come back for another one, and it's all. I mean, I'm doing it it's not strategic, but it's in the moment. I'm in the moment as you are in the moment.
Being authentic, being you. There's so many questions I want to ask, but I know many are probably wondering right now, what watches are you wearing on your wrist and what stories are behind each of those pieces?
Well, so you referred to my customization of the collectability hat as that we've turned it tropical.
Yes.
And if there's anything that characterizes the Wanna Buy a Watch or the Ken Jacobs watch, it's a tropical dial. I am not the exclusive vendor of tropical dials, and I think the interest in tropical dials has grown tremendously. But everyone wants to feel unique and feel special. And certainly to have a watch that is unique or special. One day a customer came in the store and he said, wearing a Submariner, he wants to trade in his Submariner. He was standing in a Starbucks line. The three guys in front of him all were wearing steel Submariners.
Same watch.
And it's like, what am I doing with a steel Submariner? So like the go-to guy's watch, the Submariner, now is like everybody has one. So a tropical dial is a one of a kind variation of whatever model that is. So I'm wearing my 1530, which is the quartz case, but with the automatic movement. A really small production model. Maybe it was a prototype. I don't know if exactly it was. You typically, that somebody sees my watch from the crossroad. Oh, is that an oyster quartz you're wearing? And
it looks like an oyster quartz case.
It is.
Shape.
And an oyster quartz bracelet. I guess I'm talking to a non-Rolex guy,
yes,
right? You're a Patek guy, right?
Patek all through and through and through.
Well, maybe this is a problem.
See, I would assume that was quartz, though, from across the room.
Of course, because it's the quartz case and the quartz bracelet. But this is a very small production with the automatic movement. And for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason, the dials on these 1530 models all started out silver, silver satin, and they are prone to turning yellow, golden, straw, honey-colored. And this one has very much done that. To fill the case, because the quartz movement is thicker, there's a inner sloped bezel.
Yeah, it's like a bevel, you could see.
And the sloped inner bezel has turned even darker. It's kind of rusty.
Yeah.
So we have not only a great color of the dial, but this other border that gives it even more contrast. So this has become my go-to watch for the last 2 years that I've owned it. The watch that I was wearing, that was my personal watch before, was a steel Datejust with a tropical blue dial, a blue dial that I referred to as my denim dial. And that was my go-to watch because It's distinctive. It's special. It's one of a kind, and it was just a perfect jeans watch. I sold another collector that watch. That watch has changed hands like 3 or 4 times and has been offered back to me. So it has been so desirable that it keeps getting bought. I don't know why it keeps getting traded and so forth, but that specific watch. Here is a gold sub, a 16808, which is the first generation sapphire crystal with the nipple dial.
To whisper, the nipple.
Sometimes I say rivet, but people call them.
Everyone calls it what it is.
Nipple dials. Yeah, and the cobalt blue dial has turned, denim blue. And here we have a faded bezel, and it has its own unique character. And I'm not wearing jeans today, but it is another perfect jeans watch. And I don't wear this so very often, but it is a very distinctive, one of a kind. And some of these dials turn purple, and somebody asked me for a green dial, one that had turned green. And of course, there's others out there, but there is. You get to have a very distinctive watch. I have an Omega constellation that. The center of the dial has turned very, very honey color. And Mike Smerinsky, who is not with us anymore, and it was a big, big, big Omega collector. And he said to me one day, "Why are you wearing that?"
What'd you tell him?
This, from his point of view, a dirty dial Omega. And he's collecting pristine condition. Why am I wearing that? And it's like, isn't that interesting? So tropical dials, patina dials are not for everyone. Alton Brown is a great customer of ours. He is
a big fan of his show. The kids growing up.
My God. And
in person, he must be so much fun.
He is a pleasure, and I'm delighted that we do a lot of texting back and forth and doing shtick. And he is brilliant and funny and clever and witty, and he is a texting playmate for me.
Only in LA. Only in LA.
Well, he's in Atlanta. He's in Marietta.
Oh, really?
He's in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
He does come to LA occasionally to do filming and things, and he comes to the shop.
That is great.
But Alton, not exclusively, but aspires to have a watch that the face looks like a pickup truck that has been sitting out in the field for 30 or 40 years. And that is his go-to aesthetic. And he loves his watches, but then doesn't mind turning them over after a couple of years and consigns them back. And if it's one of these pickup truck dials, we certainly promote it as such. And of course, most everybody knows Alton Brown. And so there's a huge appetite to acquire a cool tropical watch that was Alton Brown's. So
wild.
Alton,
I hope he's listening.
Big shout out.
Send him a link. Wow. Where the battery's almost dead on the cameras, but we need to keep rolling.
Okay.
Because you have to show me those other 2 watches.
Okay.
And I want to come back to the list, the secret list again.
Oh, okay.
Before we wrap up.
I'll be happy to run through it.
Let's go through the other 2 watches first.
Okay. This is my own personal Hamilton with a red and black Bakelite bezel.
I've never seen that before. It's gorgeous.
I had never seen one of these until maybe 3 years ago. And it's like, oh my God, this thing is gorgeous. It reminds me of the Blancpain Barracuda model with the red and patinaed lume on the dial, which is super, super, super rare Blancpain. But just the graphics and the color on this are just amazing. Most people haven't seen it. I just got another nice one with even more patina that I entertained keeping instead of my own personal. But James now owns it. And
Our friend at Analog Shift?
Our friend at Analog Shift.
James Lambden.
Now owns it. James, I don't want to wholesale it. It's like these things are rare as hen's teeth. The few that I've had sell immediately. He says, I want it. He owns it. It's on his wrist. And I'm complimented. And so here's a watch that is not terribly expensive, but it is super cool. It's not going to become a $10,000 watch. It's not an investment, but it is super cool. And that has, from the get-go, has been my story of you don't need to spend a bunch of dough to get a really cool watch.
What's retail on a watch like that?
At Wanna Buy in the other world, or at Wanna Buy a Watch?
Wanna Buy a Watch.
Because we do add value.
Okay.
All right. The one just listed on the site was listed at $28.50.
Okay. I have to say, I had every intention of buying a watch from you yesterday because I saw on your site a 5119J, which all of our listeners know. It was priced so well. How much was it? Can you share?
$14,950.
Yeah. So under 15K on your site. All I had to do was check out. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see if I can negotiate a bit.
Yeah.
Dealer to dealer price. But even at 15K, it's a great deal. And of course, you told me it sold yesterday.
It sold on Saturday. Yeah, it sold on Saturday.
See, another lesson. If you see something, just buy it.
It's not
going to be there tomorrow.
For me. It's like I'm trying to be within the market and not price over the market because we want to sell these things to keep the party going.
Yes.
And I didn't deliberately underprice it, but when you said to me that was a very fair price, and I said back to you, that scares me when a customer says your prices are very fair. That means they're underpriced. It's like, oh shit, I priced it too low.
But in your Patek Philippe case, you also had a 3919, which I give you a little hint. We're about to do a big push on the reference 3919, the history of it, its importance. And how much are you asking for your 3919? Well,
ours is not quite as important as the one that you were telling me about, but our 3919, I think, is maybe 11,950.
Yeah, so under $12,000.
Yeah.
The signature, best-selling Patek Philippe men's watch of all time.
Classic.
Can be yours.
Classic. Yeah.
So
classic.
Once again, I want to buy a watch.
All right.
And what else do we have here?
Well, I have a surprise.
Oh, I love that.
For you because, as we've quite established here, I'm from another world. Even though we're both in the world of watches, I'm from a different world than your world. And I'm a generalist and mostly a Rolex and Cartier and Omega and Vacheron guy. And you are a Patek guy, but I have a Patek. I own a Patek.
This is part of your personal?
This is my personal.
Now, we're very sensitive about saying the word polished and unpolished, but first look, this looks unpolished.
I would say it is very unpolished.
Is that Houseman signature?
Yes. Oh, that's right. It's double signature too.
2508.
2508.
That is stunning. So did you buy this? Did someone walk through the door with this?
A gemstone dealer was buying some jewelry and colored stones. And somebody I had a relationship with, and there was this Patek that was part of that group, and he offered me the watch. And I had no idea how special it was. And I offered and it looked beautiful, but I did not appreciate at the time, and this was not so many years ago, how special it was. And I bought it at a good price.
You're going to be heckled by our listeners and watchers, and because all I have to do is say this. This is not for sale. He has it. You're going to get a bunch of emails.
So
these are the pieces that make it so much fun.
This is so gorgeous. I don't wear it very often. I did wear it for a wedding in Los Olivos earlier this summer.
Nice.
On Friday night, I wore my big Vacheron, like a chronometer royale with a waffle dial and a guilloche dial. And then Saturday night, because I didn't want to be seen wearing the same watch 2 nights in a row.
Of course not. Yeah. Unless you're double wristing.
Wore
right?
this Patek. So Greg Esses, who is I would say mostly an unheralded, amazing
We need to get him on the show.
watch
He would
collector.
be so much fun. I'll go to Houston in 2 seconds, Greg. If you'll do it.
Greg Esses is the guy in not Alice in Wonderland, but Wizard of Oz, who is behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
On the dealer chats, Greg texts me to say something. I said, Greg, you say something. No, he is silent. Sometimes I am voicing his words. He's the
master puppeteer.
He is the master behind the curtain who does not want fame or notoriety, and he is such a knowledgeable collector and dealer for so many years. So when I wore this to shortly after I bought it, wore it to a very small Dallas IWJG show, and I walk in the room wearing this watch that he knows far more about than I did, and he says, "Oh, 2508, and it's the Loom version." And I said, "What? The Loom version?" He said, and I am much further away from him than you and I are right now when he identifies the Loom.
He's good.
He is good.
That is impressive.
And so the Loom version, which you haven't yet mentioned, I'm sure you were about to.
Did you get the archive yet?
No, I haven't requested an
That's what's
archive.
Key.
Okay.
Because it'll mention if there was luminescence born with it.
So not only is it fabulous condition and a great looking, robust, waterproof case and all original and double signed Hausmann, but it's also the Loom version. And I didn't know that until Greg from across the room said that. Greg, here's to you.
He's good.
So I wanted to bring my
Thank
one.
you so
my
much.
One Patek
Your one singular,
to this,
but a special one.
to
no
this
less.
Patek affair.
All right, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
we're short on time, but that's okay because I knew we would be talking about such a wide variety of topics. I mean, I mean, we've covered a lot. But before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to add or to say?
I think I've said a lot.
Then
I was concerned that I wouldn't have enough to say or that I wouldn't have the energy because some of the topics I've spoken about before. But again, I so appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to sit here with you and chat. Here's what I can say. When did we meet? When did you and I meet?
it was when I was in the auction world. No, actually, when I first spoke to you, I was very aware of you when I was at Sotheby's the first time. I think I came out because I did see your shop once when I was at Sotheby's. I was responsible for coming out to LA once in a while. But it was when I was working that 1 year at Betteridge, when I was working with Mike Manjos and Rich Lopez and the gang. And remember how they would have the pre-shows in the bedroom,
right?
Where the best watches the night before the IWJG were thrown out on a bed, and if you were lucky enough to get in the bedroom,
if you were fat, and faster than Matt Bain,
yes, and then you'd have Ira Schneider would be sitting like at the top of the bed. From Feel Good Watches, and the watches you would like draw straws, and you'd get like first, second, third. That's when I first like truly spoke to you, but I was aware of you well before that. How do you remember us first meeting?
I don't remember the bedroom affair.
That could be our teaser from bedrooms to tropical nipples. Listen to Collectability now. Okay, where was it?
My recall of our first meeting was when you approached my table at a Brooklyn IWJG show and offered me 2 Vacherons.
Wow.
That I bought.
How many years ago is this?
A long time ago.
Why did I have 2 Vacherons is the question.
I don't know. And I'm thinking, why is he offering me 2 Vacherons?
John had no idea what he was doing with that. Hopefully he made fair money on both.
I'm sure I made something on it, but it's like, okay, John Reardon is not a bad guy, and he didn't sell me a bad bill of goods.
Next time I get a Vacheron, I'm calling you just to honor it.
I love Vacherons.
That's great. All right. I know I've said it 2 times before, but before we wrap up,
yes,
5 more names from the list.
Five
more that our listeners just need to know.
All right. I already mentioned Alice Cooper.
That's great.
I didn't tell you my Graham Nash story. Michael Crichton.
Yes.
Who sadly passed away way too young. 6'9", Michael Crichton, genius author, who was not just a customer and not just buying fashion, but who absolutely was a collector.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people on this list are not collectors. They're people who bought from us, and some of them are just people who passed through Want to Buy a Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the observer of all of these people passing through Want to Buy a Watch and passing through Melrose in those days. But Michael Crichton was absolutely a collector and such a gentleman. And so very tall because he could stand on his side of the counter with our Mac computer, and he would see the front of the screen from his side.
He knew the cost price before he even spoke.
of the counter. But I just was so impressed and thought so highly of him, and he thought well of me. And it's such
mutual respect,
such an honor, such a God. Constance Zimmer. I mean, these are from Entourage. Debbie Mazar, Gary Shandling. Gary Shandling came in with Bernadette Peters. Bernadette Peters with this glassy, milky complexion. Like, oh my God, look at her skin. It's she's amazing.
You are the most well-prepared podcast guest we've
ever
had.
I wouldn't remember these names. I have to have notes. Okay. Well, we'll read some names, then we'll get some highlight. So Mark Harmon, Pam Dauber from Mork and Mindy. Mork and Mindy. Rebecca De Mornay. James Gandolfini from The Sopranos.
Of course.
Coming in, having to buy a vintage watch. Well, he is a big guy. And it's like, where are and it's like he wants to buy a vintage watch, but he needs something big. He's he's a big guy and a big wrist. And it's like, vintage watches are not like Submariners. And this is many, many, many years ago. And I think he bought the Omega, the square case Omega automatic, because it was like the biggest of any of the watches. But it's like, and that spoke to he's not buying an important watch, but it's fashionable to have a vintage watch. And he's coming in, somebody said, go to Want to Buy a Watch. And it's like, what do we have that's going to fit him? And so that was kind of a funny story. Of course, Fred Savage, and he tells a story of buying the Illinois, and he's from Chicago, and of course in Illinois. And Illinois are stunning, gorgeously detailed watches. And Fred comes in. It's like, I'm such a fan of the Wonder Years. And apparently I'm not the only one who I loved and adored Fred's naivete and as his character, and who apparently didn't have a crush on Winnie Cooper.
I mean, obsessed. Winnie Cooper. Yep. That's
so Fred coming in, and I am such a fan of his show and his character, and it's like, and now the years have passed, and we were we're Fred's gateway drug,
and now he's like all in the watch community, which is just so wonderful.
All in, and his kids, and he's a planner, and he buys watches for his kids 3 and 4 and 5 years before their 18th birthdays.
He is a planner.
Like, wow. And he comes in with energy and enthusiasm, and
that's great.
And when I ran into Lily at the Las Vegas Antique Show, she was so thrilled because Want to Buy a Watch was now following her on Instagram. Like that was such a
To be like the
badge,
best.
badge for Lily that want to buy a watch. And then when Adam did a pop-up on Melrose, and Fred and Augie, his youngest Augie, were there. I think
Ollie.
Thank
Ollie,
you.
yeah.
They did an interview and Ollie.
Ollie, yeah.
And Ollie is talking about his bull of a 666, and that I got it from my friend Ken.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, it is so precious. And Fred is pimping Ollie to do this.
That's so good. And then I might edit this out if you tell me to.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna let it roll. But years ago, I was actually having a drink with John Mayer in Geneva around auction season, and I was asking John, like, "Hey, like, how did you get into this?" And he mentioned you, and I was like, "I know Ken Jacobs. Did you onboard him into the world of watch collecting?"
I don't know if we were his first, but the first time he came maybe the second time he came in the store, my employee had to tell me who he was. And I wasn't helping him. Somebody else was helping him. But Sherry Maslin said that this guy, John Mayer, the name I did not recognize, was a big music guy. John bought many, many watches from us. We probably talked some, but I was not really the principal person. It wasn't like I want to talk to Ken. As one of my,
you're the local supplier.
as one of my,
Yes.
we have the manufacturer and we have the distributors. But as one of my employees said to me years ago, your watches sell themselves. The watches sell themselves. They don't watch themselves, but they sell themselves. So it's like it's not hard to sell the watches. The watches sell them. So it's ironic that I'm haven't mentioned John, but John absolutely was our for a year and a half period. He was certainly our largest revenue stream.
And he's certainly gone deep into the watch world.
He is.
I mean, he's moved the needle.
If we were the on ramp,
he's hitting the superhighway, and now he's on a SpaceX rocket.
Right.
That's great.
Adam Levine, he wanted to buy a gold nipple dial GMT, but he felt like it made him look too much like a 70s porn star. And it's like, what? What do you mean? I mean, everybody.
So he wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it. It's like it looks. Ellen and Portia. Okay,
Yes.
so Ellen
DeGeneres
was a collector, and she would.
She like Rolex, of course, like Daytona's. I hear.
Yes. So she was a regular and frequent customer. And one story about the watches. I mean, there's many Ellen stories, but the one story. So she and Portia come in, and Portia is wearing her 5513 that came from us, and she's wearing it really loosely on her bracelet. And during a pause, I say to her, "Your watch is not on time," and she said, "Oh, I never said it. I just like to wear it."
That's great.
It's like, oh my effing word.
That's badass.
Isn't I never said it. I just like to wear it.
That is the ultimate luxury. Ken, this has been like a walk down the red carpet of Wanna Buy a Watch. Over 4 decades, this incredible history you've had here in LA. And I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to throw in another watch pun at the end, but I think we've used them all during the last.
Well, I think we apparently, from your reaction, we've both had a good time.
It's an absolute pleasure. And truly, I want to thank you on behalf of the watch community for keeping Camelot alive. And that's what I think this is all about at the end of the day. Brick and mortar retail, vintage watches, they're two things that are made for each other.
From what I understand, I am probably not going to live forever. in spite of Rod Stewart's lyrics that we all love, Forever Young. And if somebody wants to join the team and has the interest and the appetite to join and take over the reins, I would love for the Wanna Buy a Watch legacy to continue. We have a beautiful store. We've got a great reputation. It's a great brand. And it would be nice to have someone carry that into the next 4 decades.
I think it's very likely. Now, you can visit Ken at Wanna Buy a Watch in West Hollywood. On Instagram, you're at Wanna Buy a Watch.
Wanna Buy a Watch.
Simple as that. And online, wannabuyawatch.com.
Wanna Buy a Watch.
I can remember that. So thank you so much, Ken, for your time today. It's an absolute pleasure to be here in LA with you.
It has been a pleasure.
I want to thank you, our listeners, and if you enjoyed this episode, please press like and subscribe and share this interview with your friends. And let us know your favorite takeaways and your favorite celebrities that Ken has met over the years. I think there could be more stories shared in the comments.
There's more on the list. There's many more on the list.
Thank you again for listening. This is John Reardon for Collectability.